The immediate challenges that Atlanta faces right now is Atlanta is the black city that worked. And that doesn't mean blacks totalitarianly run this city in a way that we don't need anyone. That means that the symbiotic relationship between the old white establishment and money and black people that have been also successful with money for the last 100 years have found this weird symbiotic relationship where they're cordial, they work, dare I say some of them are friends, and this city has prospered. We have a Hartsfield-Jackson Airport based on that philosophy even. I think though that unless we as blacks in Atlanta, who are in control of Atlanta politically top to bottom, education-wise top to bottom, classrooms up top to bottom, we are the voting base here and we are the dollar spending base. If we don't refocus ourselves economically in Atlanta, if we don't build more black business, small and corporate, then we're going to go the way of the Detroits, Watts, Washington D.C., Harlem losing through gentrification. You have other minority groups that are coming into the city now that threaten the lowest level of jobs available that used to be able to be had by the undereducated of us, so they would at least be able to have a decent life and sustain themselves. With those things disappearing, we had better start paying more attention economically. We need to refocus economically. We need to support small business. We need to have black men that can't get jobs opening business. We need to have more corporate mentorship for how to get young men who are going to college to be less focused on being these flighty things that you could never be, and more business-minded instructor or educational instructors, so that we raise a generation of people that really could take the legacy of this community until the next 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years. I think that Atlantans, and I'm talking specifically the black Atlantans, black politicians, the black worker class and bourgeoisie, you have a responsibility to make sure the legacy that has been here for the last 100 and some years endures, and the only way you do that is to economically make yourself self-sufficient and become more self-reliant and make sure the dollar is turning in this city at least 14 to 15 times before you let your dollars escape your neighborhood and city. What entertainers can do, do what James Brown did. You can hire people and you can set up jobs that ain't got nothing to do with being on stage, you know. James Brown owned a radio station, he owned stores. You know, I think you need to do what Rick Ross just did. Rick Ross just got 25 wing stops, you know. Like, I cheer for that. You know, I don't waste time cheering for or against your music. I don't really care what you do musically. I care that you take something and reinvest in the community and have a business that can sustain jobs. No matter what happens with me musically, I'm responsible to 6 people that work in this barbershop, soon to be 8 and 10. I have the responsibility and accountability to make sure these lights stay on, make sure these doors are open and close on a daily basis, make sure they have a place to come and work that's clean, safe, sterile for the customers so they can feed their family. I am a jobs creator, and it is my responsibility to create more jobs because I have the privilege of getting paid just to do some cool shit. So I have an opportunity to invest in my community in a different way. When I was young, the Bojangles in Atlanta were owned by a group of doctors. You know, that's a very powerful thing, because when you think about that, you think of doctors are cutting people, taking care of your cough, making sure, you know, you're being bled. You think of that as a very noble job. But doctors usually enter in their professions in a lot of debt. So the money they make, they have to become business people early. They become landlords, they become landowners, they become business people, they become circles and trusts, you know. So I think that we need to take those examples and do that. We need to reinvest in business. We can own any store or business that an Asian owns or East Indian, you can own. If they don't go into shit that's hard, they go into shit that's easy. You can have a Chinese restaurant. You can hire people that look oddly Chinese. And you can get the same recipes and you can sell that shit, and you can put some black seeds in there and I might like it more. You can own a laundress. I go to this Metro PCS because it's black owned, and you have to be open to do that. Beyond that, I think from a black corporate standpoint, black corporations need to be getting more city contracts. We should be pressing for Harmon Russell to get more contracts, not less. We should be pushing for young companies like ATL Contracting to get bigger contracts in the airport. You know, we have to start rewarding good work with the push to have services. Maynard started, when he was elected the first black mayor of Atlanta, in minority business, I think it had to be 29% of businesses. You know, someone asked today, well, what could we do against the Clippers and Don Sterling that'll make them understand we don't appreciate racism? I was like, what you could do is tell the NBA, we're not spending another black dollar unless 25% of every black NBA team is owned by a black person. So when they say black people don't come to games, we buy your funky ass shoes and jerseys. So if we don't buy your funky shoes and jerseys, you're going to have to comply with us or you're going to lose your league. And we need to recognize the power of our dollar. We need to force black corporations to reinvest in our children by raising the next level of corporate scholars, not just, the Chick-fil-A in Greenbrier is owned by a Mays High graduate. That's why I take my daughter to the Chick-fil-A in Greenbrier. You know what I mean? Because it's owned by someone who is a product of the Atlanta public school system, although he should have went to Douglas. It is owned by someone she can readily put his hands on. He's in there. So that's what I'm about. I'm about this community growing itself economically, growing itself from an educational standpoint. I'm about these churches that are in our community, getting in our community and being the moral barometer they're supposed to be. And I'm into disseminating knowledge through these small businesses, whether they be restaurants or barbershops or laundromats. This is the front lines of whatever is next, for the community. And I think that this is where we need to be.